Hi, I'm Margaret Carrozza. I'm an asset protection attorney, and today I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about trusts. We're hearing a great deal about this word out there, and there's some misinformation that I'd like to cut through and give you things to think about. So when we hear the term trust, you've probably heard of two different kinds of trusts. There is a living or a revocable trust, and that's really been popularized by a lot of folks out there. A lot of attorneys have seminars where they invite people to come and hear the benefits of living revocable trusts. You can buy a kit off of the internet. There are plenty of non-attorney financial advisors out there selling these revocable trust kits. But what exactly is a revocable trust? Well, it's very appealing psychologically, right? I can be my own trustee. I create this trust. I put the assets into the trust. I take the assets out of the trust whenever I want. Terrific. But what is it really doing for us, right? To the extent that I can get my hot little hands on the assets whenever I want, can I really say that the assets in the trust are protected in any way, shape, or form as against my creditors? No. If I end up having to go into a nursing home, God forbid, and I have a revocable trust, what is the nursing home going to say to me? They'll say, go revoke your trust, Ann, sell whatever is in the trust, pay for your own care until you're down to exhaust fumes, and then we'll talk about applying for a means-tested program such as the Medicaid program. So at its essence, a living revocable trust does not give us 1% asset protection. It does not protect against health care or other liabilities, nor does it protect us from estate taxes. Now, for years, many people in the U.S. have been able to tune out of the discussion about estate taxes because the federal exemption level has been $11.7 million per person. So only very few people were exposed to federal estate tax. We expect that to change in the coming years, so it's important to familiarize yourselves with trusts beyond simply a living revocable trust. But before I leave the revocable trusts, I do want to point out they do one thing for us. What is that? They avoid probate, right? So we should all have a nice will, but the goal is really not to have to use it, because a will is not self-activating upon my death. It must go to court, and that is the probate process. So yes, it's a good idea to avoid probate, but if, in addition to avoiding probate, you also want to confer some level of protection on your assets, as against con artists, slip and fall people, healthcare liability, and estate taxes, you want to familiarize yourself with a stronger type of trust. And no, it does not have to be a totally irrevocable trust. A totally irrevocable trust is as rotten as it sounds. I can't make any changes. If the dynamics change and I have a falling out with a beneficiary, I would be stuck with them. If, God forbid, a child predeceased me, with a purely irrevocable trust, I would not be able to make changes. And if my son predeceases me, who do you think the beneficiary under his will is? It's going to be my daughter-in-law, and I may not necessarily like that. So with any trust planning, I encourage you to be somewhere in the middle, right? We don't want to be totally revocable, no asset protection, and we don't want to be totally irrevocable because we have no retained control. The most important thing we want to do when it comes to estate planning and asset protection is make sure that before we sign the document, we want to make sure that we have a set of handcuff keys. Otherwise, we can't adapt to curveballs that may come up in the future. When you're ready to start the conversation, please give me a call or visit me at myassetprotectionattorney.com.